Hi there and welcome back, my friends, to Torment, Tides of Numenera. We're still exploring the bloom and we're gonna look at that fighting construct here, but we don't want to fight that thing. Just want to talk. That's possible. Waits for prey. A metal construct stands before you, silent and still. Its armor is pitted and ancient, spiked with metal thorns. Instead of arms, the construct has long killing blades, sharpened to a gleaming edge. At first you aren't sure if the thing is still alive, but as you step closer you can hear faint hisses and whirs from inside its armor. You sense a mind inside the machine. It is a mind so alien that although you can hear it, you cannot understand its thoughts. Who are you? Construct stirs and a voice emanates from somewhere in its depths. It has a hollow, empty sound as if it speaks from a vast cavern underground. I am a soldier, a predator. My names are as numerous as the wars in which I have fought. But those wars are finished now, and I have left my names behind. Surely you remember some of your names. Some. I remember all my names. Exonarch, Series 14. Genshiro, Mark 10. When I was bodyguard to Wastulalo, he called me his barber of flesh and made of me a bogeyman, feared and hated in every nation he conquered. Construct says nothing after that, but the hisses and whirs inside its armor make a great deal of noise for what seems a long time. Who created you? I do not know, nor have I ever known. They culled all record of themselves from our minds. I only remember those for whom I fought. And there have been many such masters over many long millennia of service. For a time I believe my siblings and I slept. I do not know for how long. Then we were awakened by new masters, the Tabat. We fought for them until they were no more. Oh, the Tabat. You fought for the Tabat. What do you remember about them? We met one of the Tabat early on in Sega's Cliffs, who told us all about the glory of them, and maybe it was only because of these strange machines that they had glory. Much. They ruled this land as warlords before the building of Sega's Cliffs. They were slaves to an edifice known as the Underspine, yet they were its masters as well. I do not know where they came from or who they were before they rose to power. For those things happened before they awakened me. I remember this too. They held single combat as the highest virtue, revealing the quality of one's soul. They believed that we had powerful souls, my siblings and I, for none of them could defeat us alone. They fought on two-legged beasts, brandishing weapons of another age, unearthed from great hoards beneath the ground. That is also where they found me and my siblings. They awakened us, spoke the proper words, so we killed on their command. And what happened to the Tabat? What is your record of it? The construct's blade arms twitch convulsively. A vast explosion buried the Underspine and their city, and most of my siblings as well. The remaining Tabat were hunted and slain by those they had ruled and enslaved, and I was left alone, save for a few of my kind. Alright, I got some other questions. Ask them, I will answer if I can. So, what are you doing here? Waiting. The world is hollow and cold for those who are strong and feared. For the predators who walk the bloom, they come here at times to challenge me. If I prove myself to be a predator above all others, I believe that the bloom tongues will catch my scent. Clicks and hisses from inside the construct's armor suddenly go quiet. I wish to be devoured by the bloom. Have you not seen those who have passed through the gullet of the bloom? Every trace of who they were has been stripped from them. They are freed from the trappings of memory and self. Reborn. Interesting. Why do you crave rebirth? How many years have you lived? Only a few, judging by the firmness of your flesh. In that time, what horrors have you witnessed or perpetrated? They slip into your mind in unguarded moments. Perhaps they do. Whatever horrors you have seen, multiply them by 1,000, 100,000 across a vast, grinding millennium of wars. Now imagine that you cannot forget, cannot even distract yourself with other memories. Do you know what I remember? Only those things that would make me a better killer. Every severed limb, every gout of heart's blood, every cruel execution before a cheering crowd. All else is lost, for that is how my creators fashioned my brain. That is why I crave rebirth and forgetfulness. You claim to be troubled by the violent things you've seen and done, but you're a killing machine. Why should those things bother you? We're interested in that. It's fascinating. A long moment passes before the construct speaks. I have pondered that question for all the years since I awoke in your world, and also during the long eons of my sleep. For centuries I felt no such revulsion at the memories of my past, but over time the horror grew in my mind and in the minds of all my brethren. The construct pauses again, as if considering its next words. I have come to believe that our creators intended this. Perhaps they understood the terrors we could visit upon the world, and this was their way of ensuring that we would not endure forever. If our foes did not destroy us, then we would be driven to destroy ourselves. Killing powerful predators makes you more appetizing to the bloom to go for a more direct angle. So I believe. The construct is silent for a moment, as if considering. I have observed the patterns of its hunger over many feeding cycles. Always it is those who prey on others who draw the attention of the bloom tongues. The greater the predator, the more powerful their victims, the more the bloom desires them. The construct's voice becomes less hollow, higher pitched and more grating. And I have killed many, so many. I have torn man and beasts asunder, left their bones and entrails to putrefy as an offering to the bloom tongues, and still it will not devour me. What does it wait? Why does it wait? I cannot know. Well, I haven't met anyone who's been eaten by the bloom and lived, you know. Walk the innards of this city monster for long enough and you will meet them. A series of lights flash in quick succession on one side of the construct's faceplate. Even now I can taste the transdimensional footfalls of one such man. You may find him in the vast interior space beyond the arterial opening there. Construct gestures with one bladed arm to its right. Once he possessed a name that was well known in this place before it was stolen by another. Now he walks alone, forgotten and without fear. Alright, I got some other questions. That is very interesting. What are all those bones and armor on the ground? Now there's these who challenged you. Detritus of beasts and men, it is all that remains of those who sought to best me. Okay. What do you know about Dracogen? He is a predator of sorts, but subtler than most. I have observed him as one hunter watches another from afar, but I cannot fathom what he truly wants. What he seems is not all that he is. Do you mean that the dragon isn't all that he seems? No, the hollow voice is sharper and somehow more dangerous. The words I spoke were exactly what I meant. And why don't you challenge Dracogan to combat? Construct's head turns in Dracogan's direction. Even though the grey-skinned man is not actually visible from here, obscured as he is, the crashed Katina, you sense that the Construct's eyes can see him plainly. For a long moment you hear a series of whirring and humming sounds from inside the Construct's head, as if the creature is considering your words. Then at long last it turns its head back to you. No, even I would not dare. The words are firm, with a note of finality. Alright, farewell, dear Construct. Maybe we'll come back if you want to get killed. A series of lights flash beneath the Construct's faceplate, but it makes no audible reply. So it'll send us around here, where we will find that man.
In an instant.
But now let's find out more first in this place. There's a that we can examine that. What is that? Little crude shanties are wedged into a corner, fashioned from scraps of wood, cloth, and metal. Whoever built them was apparently not concerned with safety. What does the Bloom Dweller say? Don't touch me. Just leave me be. Leave me alone. Okay. That is all that we find here. But there's some more refugees here too. The wood is rotting in the damp air of the bloom. And we talk to them. Bloom gives, the bloom takes, the bloom feeds. It feeds me and it feeds on me. The Katina's warm to the touch. And what's here? Tents look and smell like nests of vermin. They're littered with moldy blankets and scraps of rotting food.
On it.
And what's here? A panel has fallen away from the side of the crushed Katina, exposing a compartment that is filled with machinery. Waves of energy radiate from it like heat haze. Examine it, of course. Most of the machinery in the compartment is smashed and unrecognizable, hanging by wires and strips of torn synth. In the open spaces between the machines, tiny vortices of light and energy occasionally spring into being, obliterate everything they happen to touch, and then vanish again. Mystique leans forward in at least 5 realities. If these vortices remain functional and relatively stable, yes, the Katina's power source is still working. Look to the rear. It's not accessible from here, but its transdimensional properties might be helpful. You should acquire it. So that gives warmth to the refugees, and if we take it away, they will freeze. As your eyes grow accustomed to the weird blurry haze, you notice a synth canister near the back of the compartment. It appears to be intact. If you stretch your arm, you might be able to reach it, but if a vortex opens at the wrong time, you could be seriously hurt. No, we'll leave it alone. We don't want them to freeze. Only if we really know that.
Why not?
Oh, that we need it, we will take it. Not talk to the Anine again. We will have to leave here, I guess.
Let's go.
To another place in the bloom.
So that was the sorrow in its full power, Cast-Off? What else have you been hiding from me?
And this is what being immortal means, Calistique. Facing enemies you can't possibly imagine who want to destroy you simply for existing. Then I don't want that. She covers her ears with her hands as her echoes grow more and more agitated. None of us do. He quietens and stares at you with a mixture of disgust, despair, and admiration. How can I stay with you? She asks, taking a step back. How can you ask this of me? Scanthal's knowledge. That's why I started this path with her. Is it still enough? Knowledge. You want to know how this ends. More, you want to know what my creator knew. Lustig looks at you, taking in your words with barely more than a flicker of acknowledgement. Then she moves slowly toward you until you stand face to face. Do not let it devour me, she says, searching your eyes. That is all I ask. I'm with you, child. Thankfully.
All right, here I go.
The corpse of an insect of gigantic proportions lies here. On closer inspection, you see that it appears to be in the midst of getting absorbed into the wall. What do we have here? To little Nilesh and to the trade post. Up here goes to the trade post. Oh yeah, there's caravan guards and an Anin. You can talk to the Anin. Wrong. Well, it's a normal one.
Or is it the other way?
A Jelan merchant, human merchant. The two merchants turn toward you. One is a heavy-set human with a large head and wide, bony face. The other is a particularly thin and sickly-looking Varjelan. Its head crest is decorated with symbols that are unknown to you. Both are dressed in rich clothing. I hope you weren't planning to visit the Ascension, friend, says the human, whose face is set in a permanent frown. The only road was in there. He gestures toward the massive door that is closed at the far end of the platform. Oh, what happened here? As we approach, the entrance grows teeth. As the emaciated Varjelan, it speaks with a strange halting accent, as if the truth is not its native tongue. The teeth get big and turn into a great jaw. Down it comes, swift and cruel. All this happens fast, in time it takes to walk 5 steps. The human grimaces. The bloom's good for 3 things, friend. Farting up smoke to burn our eyes, pissing foul water for us to drink, and eating whoever and whatever it likes. Scanthal's, I hate this place. Too bad it's a good road to make some shins, or was anyway. You were headed for the trade post. Where else? The Ascension has its own perils, but it's blessed with a bounty of useful things, unlike this place. Try getting anyone to pay for a hunk of quivering bloom flesh. Merchant scowls and spits. We trade in crystals from Ascension place. Good business there, bad business here. Varjelan attempts to scowl and spit in the same manner as its friend, but it only manages to spray the front of its garment with a bluish fluid from its nose slits. So, what are you going to do now? The gristle man asks us to go with him into the depths of the bloom, seek out other mouths, jaws, maws that lead to trade posts. We are not stupid, we say no. Varjelan twists its face into a deep frown in a remarkable imitation of its companion. Clearly, it has been practicing. Well, if I find another way, I'll come and tell you. The merchant raises a bushy eyebrow. That's charitable of you, which makes me assume you have some nefarious motive. But pay it no mind, I have a pessimistic nature. Scan thoughts, it's probably just talk. She won't find anything. If she does, she won't be back for us. For us? I'm trying to get to the Ascension. What can you tell me about the Ascension, by the way? A world made of crystal like this. Magellan plucks a finger-sized gemstone from its pocket. It seems to quiver of its own accord, as if it's alive. All things in Ascension made of crystal. Living creatures too. It is a cold and dark place. The sun is too small in the sky. We don't venture far from the gate, as the human merchant. Nobody does if they're smart. Do you have anything to trade right now? Not yet. We offer salts and dyes and alchemical powders to our contact in the Ascension. Whatever it is, absorbs what it likes and gives us crystalline artifacts in return. If we ever manage to get there, then I might have something to trade. You could try that flesh merchant on the next platform. He turns to his companion. What's his name again? Sunderman. His name is Sunderman. The Magellan bobs its head each time it speaks the name. Too many, but also one. Okay, farewell and thank you. And let's talk to that.
On it.
How is he called? The Gristler. And we'll do that in the next episode. Thank you for watching and happy gaming to you. We'll see each other in the next episode and explore this strange place further. Maybe find out how we can get to the trade post or go further down here. Have a great time until then and happy gaming. This is Immanuel Khan signing out. See you soon, my friends.